Wow, okay. Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I am doing a review of AEW / New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door pay-per-view hailing in London, England. I guess this is still technically a New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view. They have like three wrestlers still on the show. So I guess that's enough to make it count. I know, again, I'm recording this on a Thursday. This is super late. I was away from when they held this show, so I didn't get to watch it live. But I felt like I still need to, I have some opinions. I have some thoughts on this that I still want to get out there because and makes for the chronologically of my videos a lot smoother and happier in my mind. So with that, let's get into this. Nothing else to say. Yeah, let's do that. Kicking things off tonight, we had Edge and Christian. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus Killswitch and Kip Sabian. Of course, Killswitch has made his return last week, filling in for Nick Wayne, who was supposed to be in this match but couldn't because of a foot injury. This was a decent match, highlighted by some great spots. It's unfortunate what happened with Nick Wayne. It's unfortunate what happened with Nick Wayne. It hurt a lot that he wasn't in the match, and they kind of had to rush the return of Killswitch, I think, a bit. But the performers did their best to deliver a good story where each wrestler's motivations were clear, and each brought something of their own to the narrative. So that was cool. It was fine. The match was fine. It was fun, and it was great seeing Edge and Christian back together. But the winners were never really in doubt. And I wrote here that I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. The more I think about it, though, the more I'm kind of like, there's something weirdly not clicking with this Edge and Christian reunion. I think mostly because Christian is still trying to portray his his patriarchy character, his father gimmick, which I think is it's just weird, man. It's just weird. It's not him. It's not why we want an Edge and Christian reunion, because when we see it with the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, they come back and they're still the same person, but there's Edge Christian is still just kind of being difficult and getting the crowd to boo him, and it's weird, man. It's not what I expect. So I hope they do kind of change that. But other than that, this was fine. This was a good start to the show. It was whatever. Next up, we have Kyle Fletcher defeating Hiromu Takahashi to retain the TNT Championship. This match was great. I like this one a lot. They knocked it out of the park with the story of Hiromu being the underdog, not physically as strong or as big as Fletcher, but still putting up a hell of a fight, and Fletcher dominating throughout the majority of the match, which leads to Hiromu nearly getting wins a few times, some good false finishes throughout. The DDT spot on the apron was particularly nasty. Fletcher is proving why he's one of the best young stars in the business, and Takahashi is still one of my favorites from New Japan, and was amazing as always in this match. So not too many complaints here. It was just maybe a little bit too short for my liking. I think they could have given it a little bit more time, maybe, but for a pay-per-view that's as long as this one, I think that can be forgiven. Next up, Mercedes Moné defeated Alex Windsor, Bozilla, and Persephone. I don't know how to say that name. Persephone? I forgot how to say that name. This was a good four-way match. It took some minutes to get started, but when it did, all four women were able to shine and put on a really good show. The sequences were good, and the women were able to find chemistry all throughout, which led to some good moments here and there. Particularly Bozilla looked really great. Alex Windsor looked good. Persephone didn't really get a huge chance to shine too much, but I think, that's just the result of the matching itself. And Mercedes continues her title reign with a win. Good stuff for her. I still like all the stuff Mercedes Moné is doing, being the ultimate belt collector of just some of the most random regional titles you can have. But hey, it's getting them on TV, so that's cool. And she looks cool as shit with them all on, so I ain't got no problems with that. I ain't got no problems with this. We can just keep it going. Zack Sabre Jr. defends the IWGP Championship against Nigel McGuinness. My God, 2 words to describe this match. 2 words: technical masterpiece. The work shown here was awesome. You got to respect Nigel McGuinness for still being able to put on a performance like this, going toe-to-toe with Zack this late in his career, especially after all the time he took off. He was able to nearly sneak in a couple wins before Zack was forced to use one of his fancy roll-ups to get the win. But yeah, both guys tore the house down. In their country, of all places to do a match like this, was absolutely the place in London. The crowd was so into it. But yeah, this match was great. I loved it. I really liked this one a lot. This one was pretty cool. Brodito defeated Hurt Syndicate and FTR to win the AEW Tag Team Championships. This was a good match. Some moments it dragged, but in others the action was pretty awesome. I think the ending was a bit strange. Obviously they messed up quite a few spots towards the end, and then having Ricochet in the Gates of Agony run in to distract the Hurt Syndicate and take them out of the equation was a bit weird of a booking thing to do, because I think the way they've built up the Hurt Syndicate up to this point, as like these world beaters, like nobody's is going to be able to take these tag titles off of these guys, and so to have them lose by not like a big underdog win, but instead like not a fluke, but like due to interference, and the good guys win due to interference, is like, oh man, I don't know how I felt about that at all. Bro Dito winning was also quite a bit of a shock. I wasn't expecting that at all, really. These guys have just come together as a team. Bandito's still only the Ring of Honor champion, which I feel like now that he's probably has a good chance of losing now against Hechisaro with the upcoming Ring of Honor pay-per-view, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like they could have done more with it. I feel like Bro Dito winning is still a bit of an odd choice. I love their team. I think obviously if you put any two great wrestlers together, like, they will be a great team. It's weird seeing Brody not team with like Buddy Matthews, who I deeply, deeply miss seeing on television, man. I don't know how you could have rolled his ankle so badly that he's been out for like fucking 6 months, but here we are still. And yeah, man, I also think there's other teams that I think kind of deserved it a bit more. I think Jet Speed do deserve those tag team titles. Not throwing shit at Brodito or nothing, they're great too, but man, Jet Speed could really, they need to put those titles on Jet Speed, man. I think they really need to. But yeah, that was fine. Up next, Kazuchika Okada defeated Swerve Strickland to retain the AEW Unified Championship. On paper, Swerve and Okada sounds like a potential match of the year contender, but this one never really came close to reaching that level. As much as a match, it was definitely good, and I enjoyed the attacking of Swerve's knee specifically. But it did feel like it under-delivered a little bit, which again, I don't know how to chalk that up really to whose fault that would be. I guess just I think the booking of the match itself maybe. It did feel like it under-delivered a little bit. They played a lot of great sequences and had a hot final stretch though, so that it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad, but I just think it was it's just a little disappointing. Just a little bit. Got a little bit of AJ Nakamura going on here, and I was also surprised by the clean finish, which was cool. But then Wardlow's back now, and we get to add another member to the Don Callis family. I don't know why Okada's still in this. I feel like Okada doesn't need this group. He doesn't need this group to be like, to do good stuff. He could have just been with the Young Bucks still and have this elite, because that was going so well. I don't know why he's still in this group. I don't know why we keep adding more members to this group, because it's going to eventually get to a point where, like, people are going to get forgotten, bro. Like, I know people do like this group, and, there's a lot of amazing talent within this group, but, like, man, dude, what about guys like Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, they're going to get forgotten. Lance Archer, like, they're just going to get left behind too much, and I think, when you have so many guys in one group, it takes a lot of the shine away from it, a lot of spots away from it, because they're all just bad guys. They're just doing stuff because Don Callis said so. They don't really have like a uniform goal or nothing. So aside from that though, the match was fine. The match was good, actually, I should say. And Wardlow being back is also a really good thing. I do miss seeing Wardlow on my TV a lot, so good to see him back. Hopefully he can have a few fun squash matches again. Toni Storm defeats Athena to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. This was a good match. I really like this match. Toni and Athena are two of the best in the world right now, so it obviously makes sense that they would have a good match for the title. This match was not as... Toni's match with Athena wasn't as good as the Mercedes Moné match, but it was still a great title defense. The action was really fluid throughout, and I didn't see the ending coming at all. I was quite shocked by the clean submission victory, which is really cool for Toni Storm. I like the way she's been presented is like having all these like ways of being able to beat you. She has her unkicked out of like roll up. She has her Storm Zero Power Driver. She has a submission move that she can put people away with. It's really smart booking for trying to like keep someone on top and make someone look good throughout their title reign. Yeah, so that's all good stuff. I'm not worried about Athena. I guess I hope to see her more on actual AEW television instead of just being pushed to behind a paywall on Ring of Honor. So I hope she gets to shine in the next coming weeks. I know she's going to have her match with Mina also at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, but I hope to see her more. I just want to see her more, man. That's all I want. I just want to see her more. That's all I want. Oh, God, this match. Adam Page defeats MJF for the AEW World Championship to retain the AEW World Championship. This definitely did feel like a main event match with some, with some extended shenanigans and lots of close near falls, but it didn't hit the classic level I think they were clearly trying for. Thanks to it was being so overbooked, man. This match was fucking. It's like watching it reminds me of Jay White and MJF all over again, man. Where it's just so much ridiculous shit, shenanigans. I think is the best way I could have put it, man. Because it's like, God, bro, you have the foot. Like, what was it? You have the ref bump. You have the foot on the rope bit. You have him like the false finish, and then Mark Briscoe comes out and then he tries to hide it, and then he hits him with the contract, and it's like, damn, bro. Just hit a move. It's weird too, because it's like MJF didn't really. It doesn't even look like MJF had a real chance going into it. They tried to make you believe that, but you kind of knew Adam Page was just like his first pay-per-view defense. He's not gonna have him fucking lose it to Al immediately. So like you kind of just have to like just look at the situation you're in, man, and just accept it for some of the things. Yeah, this could have been like way higher up on the card. Could have been an opener. Could have been a cool opener. And, you just have a solid match. Have like we did at Revolution, man. I don't know why you have to do all this extra bullshit. Aside from that, though, the wrestling was great. But this definitely could have some trimmed off it. It was still a good match, though. It was still a good match. Finally, that brings us to our main event. Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay, and the Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, taking on the Death Riders of Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Gabe Kidd, and Matt and Nick, the Young Bucks. Yeah, this is also taking place in a lights out steel cage match, which I'm very glad they actually extended the cage out to have the apron area involved in it. I thought we were gonna have like a fucking lethal lockdown match on our hands, bro, where just 10 people all in one cage just trying to fucking do insane spots. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they modified the cage to have the room on the outside, which really helped it is the fact that you can have more unique spots we haven't seen in AEW yet. But this match was awesome. It had some real insane shit in it. It was brutal, fun, and a good shit show that the crowds heavily were invested in, despite the long evening that they had before them. Some of the memorable moments I've written was including the Young Bucks pulling out a bag of gummy bears. I think their whole... I love this whole Young Bucks thing of, like, just, like, we're broke now, we're just normal wrestlers, we're no longer EVPs, so we don't have, like, the budget or nothing. I think that's great. I think a lot more heels need to kind of lean into that, where it's like, you can easily make fun of them, but they're still... Once they get in the ring, it's still serious, and, and it's not overplayed like the fucking Ricochet ball jokes are. It still, like, has some merit to it, has still some, like, some comic relief to it. Darby and Gabe Kidd taking that insane bump off the top of the cage through, like, a bunch of tables. Looked gnarly. Looked like Gabe Kidd landed straight on his head, which I thought he did. Ospreay's moonsault from the top was awesome. And, just the amount of moves and sequences featured here was insane. And the amount of fan service, specifically, too, was also incredibly satisfying. Glad Ospreay was able to have the send-off bout he wanted before his surgery, and Allen was amazing as always. The ending was a true feel-good moment for this pay-per-view, and a good way to end this pay-per-view. Honestly, this was a good finish. I'm glad they did it the way they did it here. Yeah, that was a good match. Closing thoughts for this pay-per-view. I think it was a good show. It was your typical good AEW pay-per-view. If this was the first one you ever watched, I think this is about as par of what you're gonna get. I just don't think there was as many, like... this is gonna sound like really fucked up, but I don't think there was as many, like, standout good moments and, like, reasons to, like, really come back to this show, except for, like, this main event, probably. We've seen these multi-man war, like, brutalizing. We've seen these multi-man wars, like, on pay-per-view before with, like, the Anarchy in the Arena and such. We've seen matches like Okada and Swerve Strickland. They didn't really do much to stand out. Like, if you took any of these matches from, like, the top of the show, like, before the main event and put them on Dynamite, I think they'd fit in perfectly. Like, these were all just a bunch of really good... I don't want to say TV matches, because AEW TV matches are way better than, like, most TV matches, but, like, these would have served as really good main event TV matches, and they just put them all together on a pay-per-view. But there was nothing really to make you stand out and say, wow, I'm sure glad I specifically bought this pay-per-view, because I wanted to see this moment specifically, or, I'm glad I got to see this outcome of this feud, because I feel... But still then, in the end, it was good wrestling. If you wanted just good wrestling on a show, if you want to pay for good wrestling, this was good wrestling to pay for. So, overall, this event was good. Event was good. In terms of the future of the whole Forbidden Door concept, I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with that a bit more. Because I feel like they took us... Because, like, they did a good thing by positioning this after like their biggest show of the year, right? Because that's usually what they do. Because then you can just run back all the feuds you had from that big event, and then just have multi-man matches with the New Japan guys, and the few guys that had finished up their feuds from the big pay-per-view can have just a big singles match with like a New Japan guy. But New Japan just kind of, I don't know. You just, like I said at the beginning, you had 3 New Japan guys on your show: Hiroshi Tanahashi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Hiromu Takahashi. That was it. So I don't know where you go from here with that. I don't know where you go from here, man. Like, aside from just bringing in more guys, like I'm trying to think who the fuck even else is in New Japan they low-key could have brought in. They haven't brought in Evil for one show yet, bro. I'm trying to see him. I want to see the House of Torture shenanigans on AEW. Please, just let me have that. But like, yeah, there might. Like, okay, Shingo Takagi you could have brought in. You could have brought on Yota Tsuji. Surely there's someone else, man. Maybe they just really looked at their roster and said, wow, you guys ain't got fucking anyone for us to bring over, bro. We ain't bringing in Shota Umino. Are you crazy? I don't know why isn't Shota Umino actually filling the spot that Gabe Kidd has? Why? Tell me why. Why is he not filling that spot? He literally could have that spot, man. He was literally fucking John Moxley's like fucking youngling in New Japan. Why do I have to see fucking Gabe Kidd on my screen every time now? Fucking hate this guy, bro. Like, I don't know what happened to Gabe Kidd. The fall off was insane, bro. The aura fall off was insane, dude. I don't know. I don't know why I'm bitching about that all of a sudden. It was a good show. It was a great pay-per-view. Go watch it if you want to. Go ahead. That's it for me, bro. I ain't got nothing else to say. I ain't got nothing. That's all for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.